Hi everyone, this is Jake Nadia, this is Sidoni, this is our buddy boy, and that's our Babu Miracle today with a new review about a Netflix film, Your Place or Mine. And it was trending #1 as of yesterday on Netflix.
You might know it from the awkward pictures of Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher on the red carpet.
Jake is a little sick today. Yes, okay, so with that being said, I'll start the non-spoiler section. It was funny, but it was also like incredibly awkward. I think the biggest thing is that we're expected to believe that
You said it was funny?
It is funny at times. I mean, apparently he didn't think so, but I feel like it's just unrealistic. So like we're from Los Angeles. The film's location is around Silver Lake, and we used to go there for hiking or just running around with our doggies all the time and going to the dog park there, which was like 5 minutes from our house. The main character, the female protagonist, Reese Witherspoon, she is supposed to own a house there. And it's crazy to me how a person can afford in that area, because that's actually like one of our dream places.
It'd be like tens of millions of dollars. She had this house, in her early 20s. There's no indication. She's a school counselor.
In her early 20s,
I'm going to be a lot harsher than you. I think this is one of the worst rom-coms I've ever seen.
It really feels like it's trying to recreate something that's more classic.
It's like
but it fails to do so.
The basics of rom-coms are people having chemistry with each other on screen. Even if it's a shitty rom-com, if the two leads are on screen together and they have good chemistry, then it's not totally pointless, They weren't. They had one scene together, two scenes together.
Well, you want to root for people, right? Especially main characters.
The premise of the movie
you want to
is
ship
that
them.
The premise of the movie is that they aren't around each other. So it ends up being two different movies. One about a woman exploring New York City and having a ludicrous time in New York City that's just insane. And another about a guy becoming like a surrogate father to a little boy, It had way less to do with them rediscovering one another, I thought.
Well, there was nothing to rediscover because they've been best friends, as the trailer states, for 20 years. And so as the title of best friends, clearly a lot more intimate things about each other. They have had sex before. So it's like, there's nothing to rediscover. It's more so like one person is afraid to tell the other person how they feel. And then the other person moves on thinking the other person doesn't want them. And then it's about like having the pieces together, right? And how it comes along at the end, which we'll get into in the spoiler section. But I thought that Ashton Kutcher was way too serious and was not, his acting wasn't like, it was fine, but I felt like he was trying to play really more of a dramatic, he wasn't hitting the beats of comedy very well.
Well, the script, first off, wasn't doing them any favors. It wasn't witty, It wasn't clever. It was like the typical rom-com beats that you see. And it's like even their banter in the beginning of the movie, they're on the phone. Mm-hmm. And it's like even the banter they're trying to do was like so awkward. Like they just weren't like enjoying it or just having to fake it. It just felt like they were phoning it in. It felt like Reese Witherspoon was phoning it in. And it felt like Ashton Kutcher had just taken a bunch of like sleepy drugs.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. And it also felt like they didn't understand technology to like they would do some technical things that I think like you pointed out while we were watching the film, like the phone is clearly a green screen because they're swiping up instead of swiping right and left, which is the way like a typical phone works. So it's like awkward kind of scenes that just doesn't have a great placement, but also like weird. There's a scene somewhere where you have to point to a specific technology in order for it to work. And we have Bluetooth now. We have like we don't have to do that these days. Like those are, maybe that was the case 10 years ago, but that's not necessarily the case now. It felt like the script was developed like maybe 20 years or 15 years ago, and then it just never caught up to technology.
It felt like it was trying to capture the spirit of those early 2000 rom-coms.
Yeah.
But without, like I said, any of the chemistry or like authentic humor. Like, I mean, watch this and then watch like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which is a rom-com I like,
I introduced you to it.
Well, yeah.
Well, and I also think like it's just out of touch in the place that like there's a scene with when Reese Witherspoon, which is in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, goes to New York, and then Ashton Kutcher goes to Los Angeles. They trade places again, your place or mine, hence the title. Like Reese Witherspoon, wow, there's so many people. I'm like, she lives literally in the prime area of Los Angeles, 10 minutes from downtown. Has she never gone to downtown? Because I've seen like just as much or more people in downtown Los Angeles pretty frequently.
You're hitting on the ludicrousness of every detail. I mean, it's written as if these people have never been in the city before. It
acts like the Los Angeles is a small town, and it's not like a city in itself. And it's like like downtown LA is very like it's populated similarly. So... Hollywood and Highland is crazy populated, that area. So it's like it's just not authentic in that sense.
The Ashton Kutcher's apartment that he has the iconic view of the Brooklyn Bridge. That is just like like in every movie you see like this angle of the Brooklyn Bridge. That was what they chose to do as his background for his apartment. It's
not rooted in reality at all.
No, and Reese Witherspoon, we can talk about a plot point later, but she just like does things in New York that are so ridiculous, I think the biggest problem of it though is like with a rom-com, you got to have the calm. Like usually a rom-com has some sort of comedic element to the story, that's fundamental to the story. This had nothing. Like, what's humorous about two friends just like living in each other's houses, like that's basically like
it's more rom than com.
Remember The Holiday? Jack Black, and they trade houses, and it's like a different sort of thing, but it's like that was more of a serious romantic film with some humor. This was trying to be a romantic film with like the quippy friend character. Like there's a woman that Reese Witherspoon meets on her first night in New York, and she's just with her the whole time. They're like
besties.
It's like they're best friends like that, and that those kind of conveniences to the plot and story are just everywhere.
Well, I think we're gonna soon get into spoiler with our criticism, so let's get our ratings and then let's move on to spoilers so we can kind of finish our thoughts.
All right, what would you rate it?
I would rate it a 6 out of 10. What would you rate it?
How would you justify a 6 out of 10?
Because I love Los Angeles. I spent 14 years there, and it was completely just unrealistic that I couldn't get down. I guess it's personally my bias, but also
so you like it because it was bad?
6 out of 10 is not good.
6 out of 10 is above average.
No, it's not. 7 out of 10 is average, and 8 out of 10 is above average.
What are you talking? Well, no. 5 out of 10
5 is middle. A fail. 5 is 50%.
You're talking about grades.
That's what I'm rating it, as grades.
So you're grading it from like the American education system.
Yes, and you get a 60%, which is... You gotta repeat this class all over again, son.
All right, so I'll give it a 2 out of 10.
Oh my God. I thought you were telling me that I rated too low when you were questioning 6 out of 10.
No, that's way too high. What are you talking
about? My God. Okay. Now we have to get into the spoiler section. But before that, I will say I still recommend watching the film.
You recommend it?
Because it does have fun element, but Jake obviously doesn't.
There's nothing fun about this. What is fun about it?
Re-seeing Los Angeles?
Yo, you just feel nostalgic and you like seeing the dog park we used to go to.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you once lived in LA and you're feeling nostalgic about it, then sure, watch the movie.
No, I'm just kidding. I think there's like there is some rom in there. It's just com is missing, as Jake pointed out. So if you are in it for the rom, recommend watching it.
The rom.
But if you're in it for the com, don't watch it.
There's nothing in here you haven't seen in a million.
But it's still wrong.
Rom-coms.
But it's still wrong, though.
Better.
Some people like to just watch the rom.
I'd say it's still wrong. Shall we talk spoilers?
Yes, let's talk spoilers. Right. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay. Reese Witherspoon becomes besties, basically, or at least is portrayed as so, with a Ashton Kutcher's ex. Who have been it looks like they were living together for 6 months, but it's like almost like they don't care. The ex-girlfriend is like, oh yeah, be with him. Oh my God, this makes sense. I ship you guys in like 3 days. And it's like, what in the world does this happen? Like literally earlier in the movie, she wanted to know if they could be serious. Basically, she implied that she wanted to be serious with him and broke up with him because he didn't want to be serious with her. So she switches from that to completely shipping her ex-boyfriend with like a friend that she had doubted the the whole time. And Ashton Kutcher, the reason why he's not with Reese Witherspoon is because he was too scared. And by the time he wanted to confess his feelings, Reese Witherspoon was like with someone else, and then she got pregnant and blah, blah, blah. But then he like keeps the momentum sake under the freaking nightstand, which is such a bad hiding place. Like, you can afford this whole freaking apartment in the Brooklyn Bridge, like you said, iconic, but then you can't afford a safe when you know that your friend's gonna live with you, and he hides his script in the oven. Like, knowing that like your friend very well, you guys talk for hours a day as it's portrayed. Don't you think she cooks? She literally made a casserole that you hated for every single night.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the real problem, though, talking about the token. That's like the symbolic thing that makes it seem like they're romantically meant to be together. That's the only thing. Most of the movie goes by, it seems like their experiences of being in each other's shoes is making them like each other less. You know, most of the movie, Ashton Kutcher is realizing what a helicopter parent Reese Witherspoon is, how she's making her son miserable, you know, and he's trying to let the son live a little bit. You wouldn't think that would make him fall in love with Reese Witherspoon more, but it just happens to be revealed later that, you know, I actually loved her for years, but I denied it. Well, we didn't know that until then. We couldn't tell that. It doesn't seem obvious.
You could tell that because it's rom-com.
Yeah, but you
it's
have
like
but
pretty
you're thinking,
obvious.
you're watching and thinking, going like, what is like even connecting them anymore? They're living in each other's cities. It doesn't seem like they have anything for each other. Reese Witherspoon especially doesn't seem to give a shit about him except for when she finds that token, you know, and she's trying to show the book.
With this other guy that they have so much to talk about.
She was liking him, and their romance seems so tenuous and spur of the moment for something that you'd think would be far more complex considering they've been best friends for years. Oh, she sees the token and goes, oh wow, I actually love him. She gets a call that her son had a slight injury because of a hockey tournament, and then suddenly she's like, oh, never mind, I don't love him anymore.
Well, until she sees the token again.
She dropped. It's just like, it's the magical device where the second she looks at the token, she suddenly remembers who she loves. Like, she better have that token around her, like around her neck or around his neck, everywhere.
I just, you know, the biggest thing is like Ashton Kutcher, he just wasn't funny to me. Like, Reese Witherspoon had some funny moments where, for example, like, she has some quirky things that are not necessarily specific to this film, but she's very like quick with beats. So it makes it like enjoyable in some sense. But Ashton Kutcher, it felt like he was like depressed the whole time.
It seemed like he was just tired. He was being a very serious.
And it wasn't serious in a funny way. Like, you've seen like comedies where the main actor is serious, but like the script, maybe it was not Ashton Kutcher, maybe it was the script, maybe it was a combination. Who knows?
I think the script was part of it, but I think Ashton Kutcher, he's playing some kind of like New York City playboy type guy who, you know, gathers no moss and he's sleeps with women. Well, maybe he should play it in a humorous way. Like,
you know who would have done an amazing job with this film? Adam Sandler. That's really who should have been there. Like a high-end like consultant.
Actually, if it was an Adam Sandler vehicle, it would probably be better at least.
And then who like especially when we discover that there's a neighbor who likes to just like cut grass for years.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, because he's hoping that Reese Witherspoon notices, and they get like they end up getting together.
When you mention that, actually, that I feel like that unlocks the movie a little bit. Like, if it was Adam Sandler with some of that like broad humor, I don't think the movie would be great, but I think it would have been more entertaining.
I think it would have been pretty good because Adam Sandler just knows how to kind of like, come on, let's do this beat. What are you trying to do?
Well, Adam Sandler's good also as like the father figure, like a Big Daddy and stuff, you know, so he'd be better at that. And I think he'd be better at portraying the kind of like not totally mature guy. Ashton Kutcher comes off as like very mature, and like he doesn't have the kind of fun vibe about him.
He just makes me feel like, oh, get laid, but then you already did. Oh my God.
No, he seems like a straight-laced kind of guy, not a...
But it's like, it's not like, it's just, it's not a good mix. It's not a good mix with like a rom-com, I guess. Like, no, right? Like, it would have been something serious.
Reese Witherspoon could do it still with anyone, you know, but I just think Kutcher, he was just not not bringing the right energy to a guy who's supposed to be the risk taker who, you know, is like a playboy, you know. I know.
They're just awkward. And
then the final scene where she's with him, they're holding hands, and it's literally the most awkward thing I've seen on screen.
It was just weird beat because she goes from I hate you, you suck, basically. And she didn't say that, but she said a phrase that I forget.
She said, call him a piece of shit.
Yeah, you call him a piece of shit, and then like the token thing drops, and then she's like,
it's like a man,
I love you. Wait, and then it's like, oh my god. Well, that is our opinion. Let us know what yours is. Have you watched it? If not, like, are you going to watch it? If not, let us know why. Otherwise, we'll be back with another video next week, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.